fall 2024, I'm seeing a candidate pulling out of the US presidential race within a month of the elections. I'm seeing a wave of peace and diplomacy sweeping across the planet, overshadowing the war effort. And I'm seeing the biggest global economic collapse possibly in decades. And hi, welcome to Fall 2024, a psychic forecast. These will be the events that will shock and shape the world. So we've been through the collective quantum leap. Now a major collapse and reset is following, and we're going to see that ramping up in the autumn months. This will happen in your lives personally, but more importantly in the world around us. So in today's psychic forecast, what we're going to do is I'll do a little bit of a month by month synopsis, give you the psychic predictions. They're choice centered, timelines are changeable, they're fluid. As we change in consciousness, we can mitigate some of the negatives and enhance some of the positives. And also I've got automatic writing for the end, as well as a live channeled session. So stick around till the end, and if you're ready, let's dive on in. Let's break it down month by month for now. October in numerology is a universal 17-month or an 8-month. And 17 is the number of hope, inspiration. It's very spiritual. 8, especially with Pluto now backed into Capricorn, with that astrological aspect, it just happened. It's going to go back into Aquarius in November. This is almost like an opportunity because Capricorn's about the government and the institutions. It's almost an opportunity for those in power to look back and to get it right this time before we go into that very Aquarian energy, which is more about the new earth and evolution and positive changes and positive communities and stuff like that. So for September, the economy's highlighted. Yeah, we may see some more falls of stocks and stuff like that. Changes in money, government, etc. come with that energy. New technologies can roll out, and government corruption and things like that tend to get highlighted and tend to rise to the surface. People tend to be a little bit more awake, aware, and scrutinizing. Now, October is a 9-month, so there's a completion cycle that's happening, and that could relate to completions of one or more of the old systems of government, economy that just doesn't work and hasn't worked for a long time. It highlights completions, but it's also Mars ruled, so it also highlights wars, aggressions, demonstrations, things like that. Things where like FEMA or National Guard may be stepping in, square-offs between protesters and police escalating here, England, Canada, all over basically. As I said earlier, candidate may unexpectedly pull out. That could be Vance. It could be Trump, because that was an original prediction. Or I'll put it this way: back in the summer, even the spring prediction, I mentioned something to the fact that either Trump or an undisclosed candidate would win. That was well before we knew that Biden was going to pull out. So that was kind of interesting. Oil prices may crash, which may not be the worst thing for us, but also the economy may crash also, and that's going to have to be looked at and reset, obviously, too. National debts get highly addressed in this energy. Big meetings at the UN or other multinational groups to try to get a handle on what's going on in the world and the conflicts and stuff like that. But conflicts can also increase exponentially. Now for November, this is our number 1 month, a month of new beginnings. It's a 10-month and it reduces to 1. So this is a month of mass exposures. Election misdeeds highlighted. What else is new, right? Big spike in spiritual awakening. We'll see that in the autumn in general, but that may really be highlighted November, December especially. A new treaty gets signed, or new treaties at least get proposed. And also there's like this image of a big die-off of some animals and maybe some new virus or something like that. So I think we're seeing a lot of changes highlighted in November around ecology, around the climate, around extinctions, concerns along those levels. And then as we get into November, that's the 11th month in numerology. 11 is spirituality, but it's also overcoming the lower nature of things. So spirituality is more highlighted. More extraterrestrial contacts, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, and more UFO sightings, real ones. I mean, there's a lot of fake sightings also. Social reforms are likely. This could also be indicative that we may hear more about things like social credit scores, passports for inoculations, things of that nature. But there's a lot of social reforms. There's a lot that's going, that's countering that anyway. Power grids, solar flare problems are highlighted for December also, so keep an eye out for that. And there may be, beautiful technologies, and one of the things that I'm seeing, in December, maybe a little before, a little bit after, either rolling out or some news about a new AI generated universal translator that people will actually be able, I could go to Japan and not speak a word of Japanese and be able to talk to people and have it being translated into my language. So exciting things are happening for sure, but a lot of challenges as well. So let's dive into some more choice. Well, not necessarily choice. Well, we have a choice, but more predictions for the month. And here's some more predictions. Remember, timelines are fluid, but this is what I'm feeling as of right now. We're doing this video. I'm filming this on September the 9th, by the way. So we'll dive into the economy first. Currency devalues worldwide. It's just sort of the general tenor of things. People question more and more the global debt-based economy, especially in the Western world that we've been living with, and want an economy that's more based on assets rather than debts, or in other words, what we have rather than what we owe. And we see more banks and businesses and government branches shutting down. We see proposals in the works to unify the value of currencies, or in other words, have a unified value rather than international exchange rates and stuff like that, and to try to reinstitute or work toward reinstituting the gold standard, at least here in the U.S. So all that is likely to come into play to try to help and restore the economy. Nasara comes to mind, or Gesara comes to mind. So those proposals, those ideologies to reform the economy and to try to create fairness and to bring wealth back to the people is likely to really start to get tossed around more. And then we see the BRICS nations, the Group of Seven nations, groups like that really working to try to not to centralize things, but to unify things, to bring back more power to the people and stuff like that. What I'm seeing also is disappointment when it comes to how much the prime rate is reduced. In other words, I think people are going to hope that it gets reduced more to stimulate the economy. So that's likely to fall short of expectations. This can lead to a lot of sell-offs in the stock market, problems in the housing markets, panic on Wall Street, and stuff like that. Good news is inflation can now level off finally, right? And also a stimulus package by December may be introduced to try to revitalize the economy with promise of reforms and changes. And I think we're going to find more kind of blending with the world, or in other words, more cooperation between different countries to try to help everybody, basically. So also, U.S. elections. Okay, that's another hot topic, right? So there could be somebody pulling out. Like I said, it could still be Trump, but the more time goes on, the more I'm seeing him still hanging in there. Now, I do get the feeling that he's got some health issues that may come out, especially towards October. There may be pressures. things come up around both candidates. Where RFK fits in, that would be interesting, because I've heard it proposed that maybe Vance steps down and RFK becomes chosen as the vice presidential candidate. And in one timeline that I could see is that happens, Trump actually wins, then steps down after a time, and then RFK becomes president. But that said, my feeling is that Harris is going to win, but it's going to be close. We shall see. Um, Also, problems with the polls and polling and all that stuff. We've seen that pretty much every year. There's a lot of scrutiny there. I think things are going to get exposed. It's a mass season of exposures anyway, generally speaking. Um, and also, it may not be immediate. There may be some kind of a recount, so the winner may not necessarily be known when the election is done. That may take a little bit of time. So here's a few other things. There may be some changes in money, and that reflects changes in consciousness. The way we value ourselves, value our services, reflects changes in money also. It may be tough, but there's going to be breakthroughs. So again, the economy is going to need to crash to some degree because it's not fair for most people. It only benefits a minute few. It's based on debt, not assets. And also, as I'm talking, they're showing me the problems with like farms and farmers, and how there's likely to be a lot of challenges or protests around that also, and trying to restructure that, really exposing like people like Bill Gates that buys up all the farmland and owns a lot of stuff. So all of this is contributing to what I feel is going to be the collapse of our known economy in favor of something simpler, more direct, and a lot more fair, that brings value back to money, value back to the people, and stuff like that. So I also think that we're really going to start to see the sting of AI and what that's going to mean moving forward as far as jobs, job security, stuff like that. So understand where we're going in this world, because certain jobs may end, but then new ones will be formed. So really get a handle on things like that. A few lockdowns amidst a triple virus threat is possible. So, that's I don't think it's going to be a mass lockdown, even though I've heard predictions that we would be that. It may be in some countries, it may be more regionalized, but I do think that there's going to be more lockdowns. I also get the feeling like there's going to be, maybe a little bit later in the period towards December, some massive solar flares, and there could be a large scale, probably more of large regional than global, like blackouts or stuff like that, and interruptions that way. So that's just something to keep an eye on also. And lots of protests. There's a real silent revolution that's happening that's likely to gain steam. There's likely to be some new leaders that step forward that people follow, that have some really good ideas and really good handle on things. Getting back to the economy for a second, I think that parts or all of the national debt may be absolved in this country or other countries, as well as some personal debts also. So again, that's moving away from a debt-based economy as well. Now, I was also seeing some new laws governing plastic disposals, and stuff like that. As that problem really gets to be more known, but by more people. I was also seeing, Trump maybe appealing again, even if he gets sentenced to jail time. That will probably be delayed, which brings up an interesting question: if he's president and arrested, how that'll work out. But if that happened, we'll do more live streams on that. Now, they're showing me a new aviation record being broken. I don't know if that's like the fastest plane or the highest flying plane, but again, this goes along the lines with technology, basically. Things like medbed technologies or other medical breakthroughs are likely to come into play also, and to be more known. I mean, it's already happening, but this is what comes out more into the public. Climate change, big in the news. I mean, during an election year, that and the economy and all the stuff is obviously going to come up. But new details on it, new ways of understanding the trends of economy, the roles of humans and burnings of things like methane and CO2 and stuff like that, how that plays in and how things can be balanced in a way. So I think, I mean, obviously a lot of what we hear, there's an agenda behind it to try to control the thinking of the masses. But there is part of global, climate change that's real, actually. So I think we're going to approach more the reality of it and start to maybe expose some of the agendas behind it, if that makes sense. So there could be, speaking of the climate, the Atlantic is super warm, although the equatorial Atlantic's actually cooler than average now, but where the hurricanes form is warm. And I've seen like 5 active storms at one time. Hurricanes and tropical storms in the Atlantic Basin or the Gulf of Mexico at one time. Major flooding, multiple locations to watch, but watch out for Texas. Now, I'm doing this on 9/9. I put this forecast out at the end of August. Currently, I'm aware of a tropical storm in the Gulf that's supposed to become a hurricane and hit Texas and Louisiana that have already had flooding from a prior tropical disturbance. So this point being is that these predictions were made before these events that could lead to major flooding. And when I'm talking flood, I'm talking about people on rooftop, like Hurricane, what was her name? Katrina style flooding. So let's hope not and keep an eye out for that. Also in the southeast, northeast from tropical systems, that could lead to flooding or problems also. Long and short, the weather's going to be crazy. It's also seeing this tornado outbreak happening around November, maybe October. Nebraska and that area is really highlighted, but something else that's record-breaking, record heat still in the west, all kinds of climatological, weather-related challenges. As well, this may be in my notes down the line, but if not, if it is, I'm saying it now. But I'm also seeing a lot of geological activity, more earthquakes. Watch out off the coast of Japan. That big tsunami that I was forecasting for the summer that hasn't happened yet. I still think that it's coming, so keep an eye out for that. So let's see what else. A big wave of peace starts to sweep across the planet. Could be a specific movement that arises from that. So we may hear that toward the end of September and October. This may overshadow the escalations of war. That would be good news. Japan or Philippines may get involved with China and Taiwan conflicts, possibly North Korea or both Koreas for that matter, or other parts of the Pacific, of the Far East, basically. Very bad autumn for fire also highlighted. And so much so that there may be new zoning laws that get proposed or new evacuation plans that get proposed. Activities like earthquakes, volcanoes, fires cause dispersion of heat. All right, I kind of said that already. Kind of moving back. All right, there's a thought that I had that I lost. So we'll move on. So there could even be a ceasefire, especially in the Middle East. And a lot of activity I'm seeing in the Red Sea, in that area that could involve like drone attacks, air attacks, drawing more countries into the conflict. That can involve Israel, Hamas, Palestine, and all around the Middle East, Iran, Iraq, those areas. So let's see, where else are we? Could be changes with the Pope, possibly the Pope stepping down, so keep an eye out on that, or changes with the papacy in general. So I don't get a ton about the royal family in general, but scandals are likely to emerge like they haven't already, right? Problems with King Charles' health. A female may work towards reform similar to what Princess Diana was doing back in the day. So we'll see the usual pomp and drama, I'm sure, also. Also, that I'm seeing a military code getting cracked. leading to exposures of things like weapon bases and stuff like that, underground tunnel collapses, caves, stuff like that, that are involved in it. You know, a lot of the wars are being fought underground now, as well as on the cyber battlefield. So a lot of hacking of computers, things of that nature. So you're going to see a lot of that kind of terrorism, that cyber terrorism coming up, which of course can lead to terrorist attacks. And you know, as I'm saying that, they're showing me the United Nations. That could be Geneva, but more likely in Manhattan. So there could at least be an attempted attack, terrorism in Manhattan. So keep an eye on that. Also, they've shown me things like a lot of spiritual development, especially with telepathy. And you know, with the UFOs, we get a lot of telepathic communication. So that's going to increase. More and more people are going to be contacted. Mostly it's going to be telepathic, but it could be quite physical also. But I think a lot of people are going to find that they're getting more like reading people's mind, feeling their emotions more. It's just part of the general awakening. You know, remember that we've had this big quantum shift, and it's happening. It's happened. We're reaching the tail end. And now the new gifts start to surface. The earth starts to change. The society starts to change. We have a period of collective mourning that comes on because we don't know exactly where we're going. We know we can't go back to where we were, so we're kind of in between. So we're really in a position where we need to trust, you know, that which created us takes care of us. Our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, or the interdimensionals, they're looking out. They're understanding that we're in a mass awakening and it's causing a lot of problems in the society. They can't interfere, but they can certainly influence, and they can certainly assist in the awakening so that the humans make the right decisions. And in general, globally and locally, expect breakdowns to achieve further breakthroughs. Also, Californians or people on the West Coast, be aware, especially November, or even more likely December, of there being a big earthquake on the order of an 8.0. So hopefully not. Have your earthquake plans set. And there's always more. There's always things that I forget, that I omit, or that I just don't pick up on. And like I said, timelines are fluid. Things can change. The more positive we are individually and the more we can create that collectively, the easier the transition will be, the less challenging stuff that'll happen, and the more the good stuff will happen. So I've got about 2 pages of automatic writing to finish up with. And if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to receive more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and if you hit the bell notification, you'll get notified when we do live events. But if you subscribe, then more of our videos will show up on your home feed. So anyway, without further ado, from the master teachers, the group of interdimensional beings that come through my channel, here's their message. Gather your nuts. Be prepared for a long winter. Be warriors. Understand how your world is changing. Assess your playing field and play to win. Things are going to break fast. Preparation is the key. Preparation for what you'll do if displaced suddenly is important. Spiritual preparation is even more important, so double down on your spiritual practices now. So many will have awakenings in autumn of 2024. So much will be exposed through your media. We, the star beings, will be reaching out to more and more of your people, mostly telepathically. You will know when it's your turn. It'll be unmistakable. You'll know it's them coming through. You've been through the collective quantum leap and now collective grieving as part of you knows you can't go back, but you know you do not know yet where you're going. Have faith. We will support you through the changes. The structure of your world and your own ego is changing. Be present, be open, don't resist. Instead, flow. Your world axis is now shifting in relationship to the cosmos. Not the physical world, but the multidimensional world. This creates energetic cracks where the old primitive ways of the humans can be released back to the void or the source as your collective quantum shift brings you to a new Earth. The Earth split or timeline shift is happening, and in your reality, you are collectively creating, in the reality that you're collectively creating. Those who are ready to awaken will do so in explosive fashion. Those who are not yet ready to awaken must remain in the old timeline until their next opportunity for timeline split, where they'll ascend also. In this axis shift, the precise energetic geometry is created to allow more light to open up on your world, to bring you to higher awareness and awaken the dormant DNA and potentials locked within you, ready to be released in this precise moment, triggering new awakening and global ascension, leading to humanity's golden age. So I also have some live channeling on autumn 2024, and I did that as a video. That will be over here, so there's more information for you to check out about this very important transitional season of fall 2024. I love you. Thank you. We'll see you at the next video.